Hello, guys. So welcome. We are live and we are just going to be going through what happened this week, what has rocked crypto. We have had an awful lot of movement and there's really been kind of two major factors and we're going to get into those later on. So make sure you stay tuned. AJ, how are you doing today on this Saturday? Feeling all right? He has frozen, guys. Either
I'm
that
back.
or he.
I'm back.
There we go.
Yeah, sorry.
What's it? Mannequin challenge.
Yeah, that's it. And I've worn a green t-shirt as well today, so you might be able to see through me. I didn't really think about that
Is
when
that
I
a
put it
football
on.
shirt?
Yeah, it's my old football club.
Oh, okay. All right. What team do you support, by the way?
Manchester United.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Mate,
So you know
my
how I'm
condolences.
feeling at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, I know how you have been feeling for the past 4 years.
Yeah, hopefully
Oh,
keeps
yeah,
our
not
team
great.
on
Not
a
great
little
at all.
bit.
Anyway, so what I want to get into is kind of recap what we said earlier on in the week. So last week at the very beginning, I believe it was like Sunday or maybe Saturday, I went through with AJ kind of looking at this economic calendar. So this is on the last 7 days. So I remember at that time, I'm not sure if you remember, AJ, but we were saying like there's going to be so much news coming out from the euro area,
Yeah.
which obviously means there's a lot of confusion. So from the likes of, I know Canada's not in the euro area, and I did just say the euro area, but Canadian core inflation, and then also from the UK, we had GDP, we had employment. You see, we had GDP from the euro area as well, core inflation from UK. So the whole point of this is kind of just leading us towards a lot of uncertainty in those markets. Now, what's the money going to be doing if it's not going to be in there because people are just so uncertain, So they're moving that money into the dollar. So we saw a lot of dollar strength, and I think that was one of the reasons why we saw that push down in these crypto prices. And obviously, you see, it hasn't really been a great week, has it, AJ?
It hasn't, no.
No.
Pretty substantial pullback after breaking those support levels on the technical side of things, so it's not looking too good.
Yeah. And I think this is kind of one of the catalysts. Like this fundamentally pushed people into that different kind of mindset. Obviously, we had that really good dollar strength. And then always the kind of as a background, should we say, or one of the I'll call it a catalyst, that then fed to kind of have that push to the downside for Bitcoin that we saw. Should we have a look at some extra data here that you want to bring up here, AJ?
Yeah, there is something I just wanted to bring up as well. I've sort of lost it. Is it on here somewhere?
Nudes.
Where have I put it? Here, here we go. Let me come
Brought
back
that
to
up
this.
there.
Just want to look at this quickly. This is slightly out of date, so I just want to make you aware of that. This is the recent data from this is back in 2021, but it does give us a good understanding of what's to come. So this is the Bitcoin to USD monthly returns, and what we can see here is that we are coming into September, about I think 11 days away from September, if I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
And September historically has been the worst month for Bitcoin and crypto since since Bitcoin was created. So we can have a look here in September. We can see that the average and the median is -7 for the average and -8 for the median. That's the highest median we have had out of the history of Bitcoin, and that is all. The lowest median we have had throughout the whole of Bitcoin's lifespan, and that's the lowest average as well. So coming into September, I know there are a lot of people that think we're going to see a pretty bullish September because they think that we've had enough downwards pressure for this month. But I just want to bring this to your attention that September does tend to be sort of the worst month of the year for crypto. And, this chart shows it that historically it has been the worst month for Bitcoin. So just be aware of that coming into September. We could see more downturn in September. But looking at the technical side of things, we'll start off with the 8 hour.
Nice.
We have broken towards the downside of that rising wedge.
There you
and
go.
we've had a pretty sort of a waterfall effect after breaking down. We had a little sort of consolidation period here, only about a day or two, and then we saw that massive push towards the downside. As of right now, we are finding a bit of support at the first take profit point from the breakdown here. So the first sort of take profit point was around $20,800 approximately from this low back here. And you can see that we are finding some nice support as of right now. Finding this nice bounce so far. But yeah, technically the target is all the way down at approximately 19,000. And that is still something that is on the table. So we do just have to be aware of that. Looking at sort of the 12-hour, exactly the same thing. Found support from this previous low back here. And we are getting that slight bounce as of right now. Moving on to this chart. Looking at this chart, we do have a major support level. So previous resistance here, major resistance and major support as well. But we have actually broken towards the downside of this. So that does signal to me that we could see the price come down to, as I said, that $19,000 target potentially. We are coming back and testing this support level. So, we could. I'm back.
There he is. Glitched out. But he's back.
Yeah. So look. Yeah, straight out of the matrix. So yeah, looking at the indicators, they are in that very oversold region. So we're looking at the RSI. The RSI dipped below 30, as you can see right there. The stochastic, very oversold. And we are also looking at stochastic RSI, which is very oversold as well. Weekly RSI is looking bearish. From how are you doing? I will have a look at the weekly RSI then as well. But you know what? The RSI is actually looking quite bullish on the 12-hour and actually on the 8-hour as well. If we have a look here, again, we were in that very oversold region on all the indicators on the 8-hour. So this is signaling to me that a potential little push towards the upside is something needed before we can get this next leg towards the downside. This potential
need to reset those indicators, isn't it?
Yeah, just bring them back to the top, and then we can continue that pressure towards the downside if that is what's what is going to happen. We do still have that target at 19,000. But what I'm looking at on the 12-hour is actually quite bullish. I'm looking at a hidden bit of bullish divergence on the RSI. So if I take a look at the RSI, have a little zoom into the RSI, we can see that we do have that momentum towards the downside. So we're getting lows, as you can see on this chart. We've had this first low here and then the second low, and then looking at the price action charts, we are forming higher highs. So we've got this low here and then we've got this higher low here, and they line up perfectly, as you can see. So this is a textbook hidden bullish divergence, and this could be what pushes the price up a little bit to reset those indicators, bring them back up to the top before we start potentially seeing that movement towards the downside again, which could take us to that price target around 19,000. So just be aware of this. This could be what is happening over the weekend. We could see this hidden bullish divergence play out, see that movement towards the upside. But if we do see a push towards the upside over the weekend, I do anticipate that Monday we will have a pullback. We do tend to see that when we do see those sort of bullish runs over the weekend, we do tend to see the price pull back when it comes to Monday. So just be aware of that as well. But I think I might open up a little long here over the course of the weekend, only a very slight one because it is very risky to trade over the course of the weekend. And I wouldn't advise trading over the weekend, but I might put in a little long position because looking at the indicators, they are very, very oversold. As you can see here, RSI oversold, stochastic and stochastic RSI oversold, and we're getting this hidden bullish divergence, which is indicating to me that we are going to have that little push towards the upside over the course of the weekend, and maybe going into Monday, but we tend to see a pullback if we do see a pump over the weekend, but we'll have to see how that plays out. So I am going to open up a little long, only a little one, because it is sort of a risky trade, but the indicator telling me that the price is going to have a push towards the upside. So that's why I'm going to be opening up that long position, and I will most likely open up that long position after this live has finished. So I'm going to open it up at approximately $21,200, as close as I can get to $21,200, because that's where this green candle did actually close. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. As Ben said, the reason why we are seeing this pullback is because we are seeing the DXY have this pump towards the upside. A lot of people are getting into the dollar, and I'll show you that chart as well that showed us that the dollar, the cash reserve in the dollar was the highest since 2001. And that just shows that people are very skeptical at the moment. They're sitting on the sidelines and not really getting into these riskier assets. So that's sort of all I'm looking at. It's
a shame that people are waiting on the sidelines, but it is very good in the sense that when we finally do have a bit of a push to the upside, that is going to be where we kind of everyone does start getting in. And like you said, it might not be anytime soon. Especially if history repeats itself, and we begin to see like a really, really bad August. But it does give me a lot of faith, especially when the markets begin to kind of recover, and also we have the Fed funds rate. Can't forget them guys. They're going to start reducing the rate hikes. So from that 75 down to 50, then down to 25. And I think with that, that's where we're going to see like a nice little pump towards the end of the year, like a Christmas present to everybody.
And I do have a chart that I will show you in a second that sort of propose that it's a proposal. It's nothing certain that is going to happen, but it's a very bullish pattern, and I will show you that in a sec. But I'll just answer this question. Weekly RSI is looking bearish. Looking at the weekly RSI, to me, looking at the RSI, because we've gone into that over sold region below 30 here, that's pretty bullish signal. When we've done that before, I don't have the chart pulled up because I've got the TradingView app, and for some reason it just doesn't like to work. It's frozen, and that's where the chart is over there. So I won't be able to show you that, but I'll make sure I get you that chart for either tomorrow or Monday. But it shows that every time the weekly RSI has dipped below that 30, we have had a major pump. So looking at the RSI is actually showing to me that it's very bullish because we've dipped below that 30. And now what I would be expecting is to see that push towards the upside in the price and the RSI. But looking at stochastic RSI down here, we're getting into that over extended region. And for me, on the weekly, we do need that to reset a little bit before seeing that continued move towards the upside. So yeah, RSI looking bearish on the weekly. I wouldn't say so. I would say it's looking slightly bearish. It does look like it is starting. I would say it's looking bullish. But obviously, we do have these indicators that are telling us that we are potentially going to go back down to, come back down to 12,000. Looking at this, we have broken this bearish flag, and the target is 12,000. And I've showed you in yesterday's video that when we broke this trend line on the RSI previously, looking at these previous bear flags, it has actually been a signal that in the future we were going to break the bearish flag, and that's exactly what happens. It happened here. It happened on the 11th of June. We got the break below the support level on the RSI, and then a day later we got the break below the bearish flag. This exact same scenario happened back here on the 6th of April. We broke this trend line, this support level here on the RSI, and that signaled that we were going to break this bearish flag. And that's exactly what happened. A few days later, we did get a break on the 22nd of April. We did get a break towards the downside of this bearish flag, and we saw that massive move towards the downside. Exactly the same thing has happened. We've broken the support level, and a few days later, we broke the bearish flag. So this isn't looking too good for us. This is signaling that we could come down to 12,000. But remember, we've got lots of support. We have broken this major support level here, which you can see has been major support. But we do have this major support level at around 19,000. And that's where the target is for this rising wedge that I was talking about in the shorter time frames. But if we do come down to that $19,000 level, there is a lot of support. So we could get held up there. And this pattern I want to show you is actually over on Twitter. But basically, if we do break below $17,500, it is invalid. So I showed you this pattern over on Twitter. So make sure you follow our Twitter in the description below. But basically, this pattern, what I said here is for Bitcoin, a very clear leading diagonal wave is in play. It could potentially be time for the blow off wave to 100K or higher, but only if Bitcoin can hold current support. Invalidation of this leading diagonal wave pattern would be a drop below 17,500. So what I'm looking at here is this pattern, this leading diagonal wave here. And what we can see is we can sort of see this rising wedge type pattern, and then we get the break towards the downside, but it doesn't actually hit that take profit at this number 2 here. And then we get a nice bounce, and we see a massive pump in crypto. And look at the chart. This is what I'm seeing right now. So if I zoom in a little bit for you, you can see that we have formed this sort of rising wedge pattern. We actually broke towards the downside right here. We've had this movement towards the downside. And if we can find some support around this area and we can bounce up, then this is just a perfect sort of copy of this example here. And this is what I'm looking at now. Again, I've said here, if we break below $17,500, then this will be invalidated. But if we can stay above $19,000, this is something that I think is going to most likely play out. And I do think, if we can hold that 19,000 and that $17,500 level, then I think 100,000 is sort of that next step. Obviously, it's going to be a very long way away, but it is what we can sort of be looking at for the long-term future. So yeah, hopefully this pattern can stay valid, staying above that $17,500 level, and that will be really good. And then in the longer-term future, we can look back at this chart and say we got it right. But for now, this is just a proposal, what I think could potentially happen. But again, if we break below $17,500, the likelihood of it is that we are going to go much lower to $12,000. And that's what this chart is exactly showing.
Seems to be the number that everyone's kind of thrown out again, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Well, I know it was 10K for a while.
Yeah. I've heard 8K as well.
Yeah.
I've heard 8K,
I don't think we're going below 10K, not at all. No. Yeah, and the thing is, technically, it does look as though we have had a breakout, and that does show we are probably looking at a lot more downside. It's just hard to imagine, isn't it? We got so close at 17.5 or whatever. We're like, right, okay, we have a little bit of breathing room here. And now look at us. Yeah, now we're with the 12K.
Exactly. And the only bullish thing I can see out of this is obviously that bullish divergence, hidden bullish divergence, but that's not going to take us far at all. Bullish divergence don't mean, we're going to increase in price by $20,000. No, it's just a small increase by a few $1,000s until the indicators get overextended again. And then we see a pullback, and that pullback could have been bigger than that pump. Looking at the indicators, this is the only other bullish thing I can see as well is the stochastic RSI is in that very oversold vicinity. So a push towards the upside is something needed before that next move down. But again, we could just get a massive dump, but we will see. We do have this support level here, previous support, now resistance. Hopefully we could get back above that. But if we do get a rejection, then the next level we're looking at is 19,000, which lines up with this price target from this rising wedge as well.
Could I just drop in a couple of points here? So I want to show this. This is just like a recap from Cointelegraph. So 3 reasons why Bitcoin's dropped to 21K and the market-wide sell-off could be worse. So this, again, just adding into that narrative that we've just been mentioning. So the 3 reasons are Bitcoin futures premiums. In healthy markets, futures should trade at 4 to 8% annualized premium, which is enough to compensate for the risk plus the cost of the capital. Now you can see, as we've kind of closed off last month and got through this month, that there basically is no premium here. So this is one element that kind of, gives us that indication that, we're not trading at those premiums. So maybe people don't want to necessarily go long, which is obviously not good. And that's going to be removing that volume from the market. Also, leveraged buyers got liquidated hard over this past week.
A lot of liquidations, wasn't there?
Yes, a lot. And so, over nearly 500 million. Absolutely insane. But anyway, so that obviously a lot of traders who kind of felt a bit optimistic, they, in that kind of channel, rising channel, going to the upside, obviously got a bit excited. They obviously didn't watch our videos because they would have known. And so obviously they got liquidated. And again, you can see this week, in general, though, the volume's not great. But then obviously everyone got excited. And so those market participants probably are not going to be going long over the next couple of weeks if they've just been burnt like that. And then finally, margin traders were excessively bullish, and now they're not. it's basically all I can say. They're not anymore. Going through here. So unlike futures contracts, the balance between margin, longs, and shorts isn't necessarily matched. When the margin lending ratio is high, it indicates that the market is bullish. The opposite, a low ratio, signals that the market is bearish. And so, we have, there's just been very, very choppy. And this was earlier on in the month, and then obviously this is here, but we're kind of tapering off again and potentially going to see more of movement to the downside, which is not good. And just quickly, next week, what we're going to have is not so much, any news from Europe, for example, but now we're kind of moving back in, and the Fed are actually going to go have a meeting. So not really too much early on in the week. Then we have a little bit of, information from Germany, not really going to move the markets too much. The ECB monetary policy, that might, but not really too much. And then GDP growth from the US. And finally, Fed Chair Powell speech. So obviously, Jerome Powell, he is going to be giving a speech just on what he thinks about the market, what they're going to do. And this might be something that will kind of, be a bit of a catalyst. I think there's a lot of this has been priced in. Both the Fed and the market are looking at that 3 I think it's 3.4 or 3, I think about 3.6, as what's being priced in. So that'll be 3.5 to 3.75 as the Fed funds rate. So I think that's already being priced in. So I don't think he can change the market too much at the moment unless he does something crazy. So we should be looking fairly stable. But obviously this is going to be moving the market next week. So that will bring a lot of volatility. Obviously, we'll be here. Obviously, we'll be live. Obviously, we'll tell you all about it. But these are things that we should just watch out for next week when this is coming up.
Yeah, definitely.
And there we go. If you guys don't have any questions, I might let you go and enjoy your weekend.
Take a quick look at Ethereum. Nothing too major. Just a quick look. Again, well, broken major support. So I do anticipate that we are going to come down and test these lows at around $1,350 and $1,000. Indicators like Bitcoin, they are very over sold. So maybe a little push towards the upside before we potentially get a rejection at this previous support, which is now going to be resistance, before then getting a rejection and then coming down to these lows. That's what I'll be looking at. So for getting into a trade on Ethereum, I am going to be a short position. I'm going to be waiting to see if we can come up to this resistance. If we get a rejection from the resistance, as the indicators, they've increased a little bit, they've come towards the upside, then I'll most likely get into a short position, but only if we do get rejected from this resistance here. And I would ride that down to $1,350 as a first TP, and then the second TP at $1,000. So that's what I'm looking at for Ethereum. And I think that's all I've got for you for the charts. Again, the DXY, just to make you aware, the target is $109, so there is still around $1 to go. If we do come up there, I think I know that the price of Bitcoin is going to continue to come down. That's been evident over the last few days. So yeah, after we broke towards the upside of this channel, so just be aware of that. I do think we are going to have some more downside before finding any major support. And yeah, just be aware as well. Next month, we are very close to next month. This could be a bad month for Bitcoin. Historically, it's been a bad month for Bitcoin. So just be aware of that. And I think that's everything I've got for you guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's only 3 years in the past, like 10 that have been bullish during the month of September. So yeah, not looking good. But also, I think with Ethereum, we've kind of like, it's buy the rumor, sell the news. And, now we finally have a date. We finally have was it 15th or 16th of September is going to be the actual date of the merge. But now that's done, the only thing that can happen is bad news. So everyone knows how it's going to work. Everyone knows what's going to happen. Everybody knows, when it's going to happen, etc. So I don't think there's anything that can kind of save Ethereum from that knife drop. But as always, guys, it's whatever happens to Bitcoin usually just happens to the rest of the crypto market, which we've all seen is pretty evident.
And be aware if you're getting into those altcoins, or if you've got any altcoin positions open, because if Bitcoin continues to come down, those altcoin positions are going to get hit very, very hard. That's why I'm sort of staying away. I've been staying away from altcoins throughout this whole bear market and just sticking to Bitcoin, accumulating Bitcoin. Once I'm happy we've established the bottom, then I'll get into the altcoins. But for now, just Bitcoin for me.
Yeah,
I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, I can tell you that. I am for now, but yeah.
In a bear market, it's literally, apart from maybe like USDT or C or whatever, like a stable coin, but it is probably the best thing to hold, because it is most likely to be moving first. And then also, it just doesn't have the same volatility as a lot of the altcoins, which is a good thing.
You don't see the portfolios get absolutely demolished and wiped out either.
Yeah, exactly. But then also we will be moving into those altcoins, and obviously follow us guys on Twitter, because we did come up. What's the link trade at? I asked you this morning. It's 109%.
Yeah, so I closed that link trade at 109.85%.
Absolutely insane.
That's a pretty good short. And I could have held it open for longer, but the indicators were telling me we were going to get a little push towards the upside, so I did just close that trade. But yeah, make sure you follow us if you want to see more trades like this. We will be doing more trades like this, so make sure you slap that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to see more trades like this.
There you go. I can't leave with anything better than 109%. I'm not going to say anything. 109, follow us on Twitter, and we will see you tomorrow or on Monday for a full kind of follow-up of what's going to be happening next week. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much for watching. See you tomorrow or Monday.
See ya.